That's the beginning. Thank you for inviting me. I am Sanjana. I'm, I'm completely blank. I prepared for this talk. I have no idea. I've been an urban kid. I'm going to try and keep the flow like Ted wanted. I've been an urban kid all my life. I grew up for the first 18 years of life in and around Bombay and its suburbs. After 18, I left home. Thank goodness for higher education. I backpacked, I traveled, I worked, I studied. However, before I left home, as a little child, my little brain only knew the urban reality. Until 1994, my parents, who wanted to invest in a second home, took me to Karjat, a small village, small town, in the Sahyadri Valleys of the Western Ghats. That's when my little imagination opened up to multiple realities. That was the first time I fell in love with a place. The hills, the forests, the clean air, the water, everything mesmerized me. And I had an epiphanic moment. As a 5-year-old, I realized this is where I want to live for the rest of my life. We went back. My parents never invested in culture. And I think I convinced them for the next 3 years of my life to invest. Buy a farm for me. Let's go. That never happened. I gave up and life went on. I forgot. And then two things happened. First, being I started planning an escape route. How do I get rid of it? How do I leave this house and run to the hill? Every single night. Every day I plan how to not live in the city anymore. And then the second thing happened. A couple of years later, I met my hero. I met my soulmate. Harry Potter. I read the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in 2001. When I read, I felt seen, I felt understood, I felt heard. I thought if Harry could be saved, I could be saved too. He was 11-year-old after all. No one saved me. I continued to pursue my studies. I went on living in the city, mostly unhappy. But then when I left home, like I said before, I traveled. I met a lot of interesting people all over the country. I also met my current and only husband, who I shared. When the first time I met him, I think I shared that my dream is to build a forest one day. And that's also the time we just started dating. And he said, okay, let's do it after we retire. This was 2010. Yes, 14 years back. 10 years later in 2020, when I was living in Berlin with my husband and my older child, and it was the onset of the biggest pandemic, the global lockdown that happened, I told him again, we may not have the time after retirement to build the forest that we want to raise. We may not have the money now. But at least we have time, and who knows if we'll survive another year. So let's just enjoy what we can by doing what we want to do. And he said, okay, let's go back. After a lot of heated conversations, we decided that we will live in Raigad. That's a small district in Maharashtra today. In Raigad, we explored the length and breadth of the district, going everywhere, but not finding the land that I wanted to build a forest. Hard truth hit me that land has now become a commodity for deforestation, for concretization, for urban dwellers to come in and enjoy biodiversity without actually preserving it. After months of trying to find land, we gave up. because we didn't have enough money to buy this commodity. My utopia had broken once again. And a day after giving up, somebody called my husband, I don't know who that soul was, and he said there's a small piece of land in Karjar that may be available. And suddenly I remembered all about my childhood of Karjar. Okay, we've all had dreams and wishes as kids, no? I remember my first wish was not Karjar. My first wish was to marry Amir Khan. When I watched Hamera Pyar Ke, it was supposed to be a children's film, and I heard the song Chikni Surat in the heart, and I fell in love with it as a child. And I said, "मैं बड़े होके Amir Khan अभी नहीं करना." But that was my first wish. Among the other wishes and dreams that I remember, one of them is that I wanted to become a bus conductor in the BST buses of Bombay. The khaki-clad conductor with the clinking coins in his bag. I used to wonder, kitna ameer aadmi. I want all the money that he had. And then Karjar. This is the land which nobody wanted. I was excited when he mentioned Karjar. I said, let's go. Of all the places in Raigad, somehow Karjar was the only place that we didn't think about, or we missed somehow. Place nobody wanted. This is how it looked in 2020, 21, I guess. It was a slopey hillock with no road access. So no builders wanted it. No urban dwellers wanted it. There were no trees, it was barren. The only few trees that were there were palaj trees. The villagers used it as a toilet. So of course nobody wanted to step on it. But it was my dream place. And it was being sold at peanuts, so I could afford it. That's when I stepped into this land for the first time. It was not easy. That's when I also realized that buying land, owning a land is very different from possessing it. That's when I met a range of people, from local farmers to community gundas to babus sitting in the office. Nobody wanted me to possess it. It was okay if I owned it. Nobody wanted me to step on it. That's when I decided to drape my cheapest cotton sari, wear my 3-year-old daughter, and walk into their offices and talk to them. Each one of them, offices, homes, wherever I met them, I spoke to them. And in 5 to 10 minutes of our conversations, which ranged from 30 minutes to 3 hours at a stretch, I saw agitated, corrupt men becoming empathetic humans, asking me why would I be such a crackpot to come back to India and to live in a place like this. I said, I don't know. That's just a dream. Maybe I might go back if it doesn't make sense to me. But right now, this is my dream. And this is what I want to do. So please don't obstruct. I think I was one of the first persons in Karjar who didn't drive in many, many decades. In fact, one of them walked me to the land, and he was the most popular gunda of the time. I felt very happy that I could finally step onto this path. Then the next challenge came in. Farmers who lived all around. It wasn't easy gaining their trust. And all I needed was just them. It was a huge challenge for me to work with all these humans. To tell them, to remind them that I'm not here to build an eco-forest or a resort or a swimming pool. All I want to do is plant trees and take care of them till the time that they don't need me anymore. All the people you see here are people from my village, human beings who possess traditional wisdom, are extremely intelligent, have never been to school. The emotional, intellectual capacities of these humans are way beyond anyone that I've ever met in my life. This is where we were repurposing old discarded Mangalore tiles that villagers no longer want to use because we have concrete and cement panels. So I decided to build my home, my little home, which we call labor of love, with the help of all the farmers. The barren land that you see Baba and my husband walking on, this is the second year. The first year, there was only soil with no mulch. The second year, I made sure nobody burned the land. Therefore, you see the grass. covering the soil. These, anybody knows what these are? Any of the vegetables? These are India's native vegetables. I won't tell you the names right now, but this is why I came back. I wanted to leverage on my ancestral DNA to eat the foods that my ancestors grew. Some of them that we didn't grow, none of it is anything that I grew. It just came, the earth gave them to me when I left it alone. When I did nothing, just plant trees and let nature do the magic. We harvested them, we threw the seeds back. In the last 4 years of working with soil, living in the forest with my kids, birthing them there, I've heard plenty of stories. The story that hit me the most was the story of a 300-year-old mother tree that was felled a few years back. The tree had a hollow base under which over 30 to 50 generations of women had birthed their children. I myself birthed my children at home and put up their placenta in the soil in the Sahyadri forest and planted trees on them. I just gave back to earth what came to me from the earth. So I felt the pain deeply when women spoke of the loss of historical information, of collective memory, of stories that they have spoken sitting around the tree, of the loss of the millions, if not millions, at least thousands of species who lived on the tree, around the tree, dependent on the tree. That was what hit me the most. That's when I decided that let's just acquire as much land as we can. Let's just ask people to come in and join us and plant trees and take care of them until a point where humans are not needed anymore. Let's just do nothing. That's when I started speaking to farmers from all over the country. Farmers who did not leave their value system post 1980s when Green Revolution hit. Farmers who saved seed year after year. They started sending me gifts. 100 grams, 200 grams, 500 grams, 1 kilo of seeds of various varieties of rice, corn, wheat, dals, millets. And for the past 2.5 years, we have been using those gifts to compound our seeds. We're not consuming them. We grow and then we compound. We grow and we compound. So from 100 grams, we've gone to 10 kilos. And we are just there right now. Turmeric, rice, and we've also been harvesting water. Water, a commodity listed in the United States Stock Exchange. We might have to take fraud to access water from here. So, save seeds, we harvest water. My children grow up in the forest. They've been building the forest. We train management students, engineering students from across the city of Mumbai who come to learn what's happening on the farm. We have visitors from across the world coming just to see what we are doing. We invite them to do nothing. We don't call them to plant trees. We don't call them to do anything. We invite them to be coming in, living with us, and do nothing. This is how my farm looks today. I told my farmer to send me a photo this morning because I've been away from there for the last 1.5 months. There are at least 100 varieties in this photo. I don't know if you can name them. But that's how thick the vegetation is. Only 3 years. These are not trees. I've not just planted trees. There's shrubs, creepers, climbers, everything. And there's at least 1,000 species living in this. And this. Those are papayas, mangoes, cashews, ramphal, chandan, sitafal, and so many more. Fruit trees, wood trees, everything that grew in the native Sahyadri Valleys. As natives in the Sahyadri Valleys. They need minimum care, not even water is the highest and warmest and hottest of summers. They're resilient and they love thriving even without human support. They support each other. It's so symbiotic, it's magical. One more. That tree is the first tree that I planted 4 years back. And it's been thriving. It's the amaltas. It's not very clear, but it's the amaltas. And it's different names. It's got the yellow flowers. It's known as Pannapu in Malayalam. I don't know what it is called in other languages. These are the names that these forests are referred to. The secret to conservation of biodiversity and humanity. From Ethiopia to Estonia to Siberia and China to Peru, Pakistan, every single corner of the world on this planet hosts them. Researchers have estimated that there are over 1 lakh sacred groves in India alone. However, only 14,000 have been described. We have no data about sacred groves and their importance. Just like we don't have any data about their decline and loss. But they have been there. They've always been there, doing their job, giving us the pure air, being the lung of the city, giving us the pure water, clean water that we're drinking, hosting biodiverse species, making humanity the most beautiful creation on the planet. I say that with no sarcasm. A lot of you who worry about the planet feel like you're a burden, no? We're not. Trust me, we're not. We're the most noble creation of this planet. And I don't say it sarcastically at all. If we realize how much of an asset we are, if we let go of our ignorance, if we let go of our guilt, the most useless human emotion, guilt, is the opposite and antithesis of love. If we let go of our guilt, acknowledge our ignorance, it's possible that we take one step at a time to learn to do nothing. If we can do nothing, I think it's the most powerful thing in the world. Let's stop being innovative. Let's stop being creative. Let's stop intervening for once. Let's start being our primal mammalian selves. It's possible. Sacred groves, I believe, right now in this moment, could be the secret to conservation and humanity. That's me.